Hello, how's it going? Here we are to explain what Amazon per vendor. Central is basically vendor is aimed at suppliers and manufacturers, and it's also known as Amazon Retail. It's a sales model where Amazon buys from you. Stocks, being you a manufacturer, a large distributor, a wholesaler, or a big brand, and sells them directly. Amazon, within Amazon as just another seller. What you're seeing is Amazon Vendor Central. I've logged into a client's account and obviously I've deleted all sensitive data. And, well, you might be wondering how we can become vendors. Well, look, we used to have a landing page called Amazon Vendor Express where you could sign up as a vendor and Amazon would decide whether they accepted you into the program or not. Now, you can't do that anymore. It's restricted and works by invitation. By invitation, which can be via email or through a phone call, an Amazon vendor representative calls you and brings you into the vendor program. Obviously, before you get into the vendor program, you need to carefully review the contract. For example, Nike. Before selling on Amazon as a vendor, I spent almost 2 years negotiating the vendor contract with Amazon. Well, there are loose ends, like not accepting all returns, including those from Amazon itself, returning out-of-season stocks, negotiating. The chargebacks for non-compliance that they often impose on you as a vendor, chargebacks for non-compliance that can be, well, a purchase order hasn't worked for me, that you've sent me more stock or less stock than I had requested, you sent it to me late, etc. Who sets the prices of the products in vendor? Well, basically, Amazon's algorithm, the pricing algorithm, what it does is calculate what are the prices of the products being sold on Amazon, set by other sellers and outside of Amazon, and always try to be the cheapest. Therefore, let's say you depend 100% on them for pricing, and it doesn't have to align with your suggested retail price to third parties. You're selling to Amazon, and Amazon controls the selling price. Amazon has the stock, so it's theirs. You sold it to them, and they set the price. The price determined by the algorithm, which is usually the cheapest on the market, with what this can mean for pricing. Traditional channel to all your distributors. What are the differences with seller? It centers around Amazon Seller Central. Let's say it's the ideal version for those who want to sell as third parties to Amazon customers and are in the seller regime of marketing. And in turn, they are distinguished between those who control all the order and shipping management, the FM fulfillment by merchant, and those who use FBA fulfillment by Amazon or managed by Amazon, letting Amazon worry of storage and stock. Let's say that sellers are like infantry, those who fight in the mud to win the buy box. And let's say that in vendor, you don't understand many things, such as the buy box issue, setting prices. You don't worry about stock, you don't worry about shipping, you don't worry about managing reviews, because all of that is already done directly. Amazon. To start selling on Amazon vendor, there are basically 4 scenarios. One would be you are in seller mode using the marketplace or retail. And from there, when you hit sales, or as my friend Israel Casado says, when you heat up the asin. So they can move you to vendor, basically. Or you're a well-known brand and they call you directly, or you're a supplier they found by digging through the seller's data. And they call you to join vendor, or they call you to be a vendor manager. That is compatible with Seller Central as well. Or with regular vendor, for example, it would be the case of someone who manufactures products for Amazon under their private label. We have another video on this channel talking about the more than 400 private label brands of Amazon. So you could be one of those. Among the so-called privileged ones who manufacture for Amazon brands, as you can see, we have here items to add products, view shipments, send products in bulk, edit products, upload images, edit item costs, product certifications, manage data transmission to the catalog, and manage product documentation. All of this would be to manage the catalog that is uploaded to vendor and that you usually upload yourself. unless Amazon uploads it directly for you, which doesn't happen most of the time. Then we have the advertising options. We would have the advertising campaigns within Amazon Marketing Services, the marketing services. Here we can also create coupons, we can run promotions, we can do Amazon Vine. That is, send our products to some people, to Amazon customers, so they can write reviews. We can manage the A+ content for all our products. Putting discounts for businesses for the Amazon business part, which we also explain in another video. And then marketing packages. Reaching buyers within the marketplace through applications on the storefront and category pages. So this would be sponsored brand, basically, for vendors. Then we have all the analytics reports, operational performance reports, and dealership dashboards, where we see the customer experience with your products. How many products have they put in their basket, other products they have put in their basket along with mine, etc. It would be very similar to the brand analytics reports that we can see within Seller Central, the payments and dispute management part, where we basically have to argue with Amazon about all the non-compliance charges they throw at us as a vendor, and then the setup part, where we can manage the account, return addresses, customer returns, and returns from Amazon itself, permissions. We can set different permissions for different users who access Seller Central, contacts associated with this vendor account, and notification preferences. And how much does this whole thing cost? Well, basically it doesn't have a cost, but you pay for the advertising campaigns. Amazon recommends that from all the POs or purchase orders that you receive monthly for stock, you should set aside about 10% for advertising campaigns. Okay, that would be what we can do here. Well, all the part of sponsored products, sponsored brands, display, etc. Besides, normally you have to get ahead. Stock and payments in Vendor Central usually take 60 to 90 days. Sometimes they can even give you a confirming document so they can advance the cash for you. The bank. They might also offer you an AVS, Amazon Vendor Services, or better known as a vendor manager, which is a person within Amazon who helps you grow your account, and they manage the internal support from Amazon. And well, those vendor managers are quite expensive. It's 5 or 6 figures annually. Each vendor manager, who is usually a shared person with others, with other brands that are within your vertical. For example, if you're in wine, it could be that the same person is working and getting paid by Marques de Riscal Bigorri and another winery. Besides, they can also charge you for the AVS, Amazon Vendor Services, starting at 5 figures a year. And for example, there are other things like marketing services where they charge you 1%, 2%, or even up to 10% regarding your annual billing and other things. Well, obviously there are the non-compliance charges, which we've mentioned, that are usually not a percentage, but rather fixed charges. And then other negotiations like I want to access ARA reports, Amazon Retail Analytics Premium, to see even more data. Well, that's negotiating with the person you have as a contact in vendor, and they usually charge a percentage based on your billing. Annual revenue you generate in Vendor Central. I've seen it all here. There are people who have modest billings of 100 or 200,000 euros a year, so 1% is nothing. But there are people who are easily moving 20 million in sales on Amazon, Vendor Central, because they sell all over Europe and also in the United States, etc. If their product has a lot of turnover, then 1%, 2%, or even 10% starts to add up to quite a bit of money. And how do we know if it's worth it to sell on Amazon? Vendor. Well, it's just another channel where you should sell. If you're just another brand, it's because your consumers are going to be there, or your competition is already selling there, or as it happens a ton of times. I don't sell on Amazon, but my entire catalog is uploaded. Well, being on Vendor is one of the ways you can get in, register your brand within Amazon, claim the product listings, and bring some order to the chaos that third parties have created in your items. In the items of your catalog that are uploaded, or Another scenario, well, I want to sell on Amazon, but I don't want to get into Seller Central because I have the logistics prepared to send large quantities of pallets, but not to do a small P2C picking of a product and send it to a customer. I can't send a little box. I have to send large quantities, so I don't want to get into the Seller Central war. What would that be? Managing orders for B2C. And what I want is to be in B2B. Well, in vendor, you, Amazon, are not going to serve small packages, but you are going to serve them normally. Pallets. Do you want to achieve a good sales volume? Well, you can heat them up to simulate and put them on automatic practically in vendor. So when you're in vendor, you have more or less to gain. The buy box always applies to the Prime program. You can opt for other services. It's easier to get into programs like Subscribe and Save. You can add your new products to the Born to Run program to get those first reviews. You have access to Amazon Buy, etc. And besides, all your products will appear below. From the buy box sold and shipped by Amazon, which we can say is dynamite because that, in terms of conversion, is the best. If Amazon sells it to me directly, there won't be any problem. Also, we might be interested in brand protection. In vendor, if we register the brand, in the end, we'll have that contact 24/7 with the brand registry department from Amazon. But we will most likely also have a person managing our vendor account within Amazon with whom we can talk if we run into any issues. And then we have visibility on all the pages to create A+. Well, it's reserved in Seller Central for registered brands. Let's say that in vendor, you're always considered a brand, which means you can create A+, or what is also called Insight from vendor at Unset branding content. And you'll obviously be able to create your Amazon store with the registered brand and everything, and access programs like Vine, which you can now also access if you're in Seller Central with the registered brand. But let's say that in vendor, you already have it. With the basic pack, customer support, well, you don't even notice it because you can't talk to the customer. Basically, it's Amazon, the seller, so you get rid of that hassle just like you get rid of the hassle of logistics. And also, it's easier to get in some Amazon highlights like the gold box or the deal of the day. There's more thought out. For products that are more, well, like that technology or things where you can make really heavy one-day offers, that's easier. Also, from Vendor Central. And basically, why wouldn't vendor be interesting? Well, I can think of many reasons, but the main one is to respect the selling price. Let's say that in seller, you control the price, but in vendor, the algorithm controls it. And that would be the big elephant in the room in Vendor Central, so be careful with that. And be careful with the contracts too, because by doing so, you accept all returns. And that means you're going to get into certain disputes over returns, because Amazon is going to try to return all the products they can and more, whether those are products that their customers returned or products that they couldn't sell. And they reallocate them for you again, and you often have to pay them at the price you sold them, not to mention that the product has depreciated over the months or that it's out of season. So all those things, you have to watch out for them because you can never go all in with a contract, especially not with Amazon. And you also have to keep in mind that just because you're in vendor, Amazon is not committed to you. You won't be the only supplier that Amazon buys from stock. They will always try to buy cheaper and will always look for a plan B or a plan C, which will be to buy from a distributor, yours, to a wholesaler that works with you, etc. So obviously, the vendor part also has its downsides. Well, I hope this video has been helpful, especially regarding what you need to know about Amazon Vendor and how to open an account in Vendor Central. Just remember that it can't be done unless it's by invitation. We no longer have Amazon Vendor Express, so if they don't call you or send you an email, there's no way to get into Vendor Central by forcing it ourselves. Alright, I hope this has been helpful. Remember to subscribe and we'll see you in the next video. Greetings.